Good evening. So, Ronnie Lawson has made what looks like could be his last interview, news interview, although probably not. But there's a few things to unpack. Let's take a look at it.
Primer. Lawson ran for sheriff in 2006, but lost against Roger Christian and was demoted.
I want to start off by saying that the whole demotion after he lost his run for sheriff, as I understand it, that's pretty common practice. Being chief deputy, when a new sheriff comes in, he's going to appoint his own chief deputy, right? That's pretty standard operating procedure. Although it wasn't really painted in the best light by the reporter, it just is what it is.
Lawson wanted more officers on the road and for the office to have a better perception throughout the community.
The state requires 40 hours training per officer. My officers trained 110 hours each last year. So that's well above. And the thing about it is, if you train your officers on how to be safe and how to stay safe and how to protect yourself, they're also learning how to protect the public.
Now, I think it's pretty interesting that he really wants to harp on the fact that his officers got almost 2 times as much training as they needed. Now, you have to understand from a logical taxpayer's vantage point, training isn't for free. Training is built into the budget, right? So when you have officers who are being trained and they're actually not on the road, that's costing the county and the state money. Well, the county, right? I don't want to take away from sort of the mission statement that he's talking about, but training's not for free. And you can read here, it says, the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office operates on an annual budget exceeding $12.1 million. Rather than an isolated training line item, the department's training-related costs are primarily viewed as a unquantified expense due to high officer turnover. Over a recent decade, the county spent over $2.6 million training deputies who subsequently left for higher-paying agencies. So what is the point of paying exuberant training costs only for these officers to leave? Now, this isn't just the road guys. It's also deputies in the jail as well, right? You can go on to read here that it says, HCSO was historically one of the lowest paid agencies in the East Tennessee region. They served as a training ground for nearby departments. Over a 10-year period, the county spent approximately $2.6 million training officers who ultimately left. Now, understanding that, breaking that down over a decade, each year, and then we have the operator in the beginning. We have the operator of Church Hill Rescue, Search and Rescue. He's standing before the commission asking for a nominal amount of money. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was in the neighborhood of $10,000 or $12,000, right? They were actually capable of doing some good stuff, right? Even though that office had been tainted earlier before, right? So sometimes I feel like people say what they want you to hear instead of not saying what they mean, right?
But there is one case he hates to leave unsolved.
One, you say, huh? Well, Hawkins County has 7 unsolved suspicious death or missing persons cases dating back 36 years, okay? Now you'll see in this article at the bottom, captioned under the pictures, it says, among Hawkins County's unsolved missing persons or suspicious death cases are Summer Wells, Donna Marie Young, Larry Vickers, and David Wayne Blizzard, right? So there's more cases than just Summer Wells. And she's the biggie though, right? I don't know why all of these families aren't getting the same sort of concierge, right? Ronnie Lawson is going to concierge them into the new sheriff. But what about these others, right? Don't they all deserve to get the same attention? I think so.
Summer Wells. That's the biggie. You know, people can say that they need new fresh eyes and they need to do this and do that. Summer Wells' name is mentioned this hallway every week.
There's a little ego there. And with the comment he stated about needing new eyes, I guess it's probably safe to say that he's watching the internet. I don't think any constituency is telling him that. I've not heard the sheriff say the new sheriff say that. So, yeah, Ronnie Lawson, tell me you're not watching Summer Wells' BS content on the internet without telling me you're watching Summer Wells' BS content on the internet.
We look into every tip we get. Nobody wants to find Summer Wells more than me.
I think we've heard a little bit of this, or a lot of bit of this lately, right? I've heard recently a couple of other people say that it's more important to them that she be found than anyone else. Now it's more important to the sheriff. Well, let me throw a wrench out there, right? You've not arrested their parents. Now I'm playing devil's advocate here. You've not arrested her parents for anything involving her disappearance. So it could be safe to say maybe they want her found more than you. It's a very strong, colorful statement to say you want her found more than anyone else. I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to impress upon the viewers how very badly he wants her found, and that they're still following up on every tip. I mean, at this point, I think we've seen on the internet who keeps putting in the tips. Anyways, I don't know. That's really all I have. I feel like the dude sat down and, seems like maybe he gave it his best. I don't know. It's just a short breakdown. When you look at things for face value, you see it's a 3-minute, 41-second news clip, and then you sort of break it down in a little more depth. You understand the spokes that make the wheel move, right? So, anyways, I hope you found it even the least bit informative. Again, I'm not saying Don and Candace want her back more than Ronnie Lawson. That's not what I'm saying. I'm throwing out a wrench as a devil's advocate, just showing you that, well, and I'll go on and say, there's someone in Summer's family who certainly wants her back more than Ronnie Lawson. Anyways, I love all of y'all individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.